And the other question is, of course, when's the MK11 critique? I do the critiques when all the DLC is out, because I want to cover everything in one go. I don't want to have to make one video and then when I do the follow-up about the DLC, I have to address all the things that have changed. It feels like it'd be a waste of time, and the stuff in the first video would be out of date. So I want to get all that stuff in one video that is kind of the definitive version. One of the reasons that some people said that my response and the way everything came across was justified is because there are certain things I've answered multiple times in multiple videos and I still get asked about it. And that's the thing, there isn't really a way to just give a definitive answer. I think even if I made an FAQ video, here's answers to all the questions, people still aren't going to see it. There's really nothing I can do to answer the questions and place them where everyone can see them and have the answer. There's no way to do that. And so there's always going to be people asking the questions again later. And it does get frustrating. And I don't intend for it to come off aggressively. It's just, it does get really irritating. So it's one of those things where I think, creator and viewer both need to be understanding. The creator needs to understand that people are just curious. They usually don't have any ill will. They're just curious about what the answer is, and they're curious about the creator's opinion on certain subjects. It's understandable. And the viewer needs to understand that these questions are going to get asked a lot. So they need to consider whether or not it's worth asking this question when somebody else is bound to have asked it already. Again, I'm sorry if it came off too aggressive to you, or if it came off as ungrateful. That's really wasn't my intention. I think we all need to kind of be a bit more thoughtful going forward, more consider the other side's views and the way things go for them in order to make things go forward a little smoother. And that's really all I wanted to discuss. Hopefully I didn't just repeat myself too much, and hopefully things will be a bit smoother going forward from both sides.
Hello, everybody. As you guys have seen with the video that I showed you in the beginning, The4thSnake, who was the guy who I made a video on recently, he did a video recently clarifying himself with essentially him getting angry at his fans and essentially apologizing for it, basically stating that he did not mean to come across as hostile or aggressive or arrogant or egotistical to his fans, and that it was mainly just general frustration that kind of made him seem that way. And I watched this video. I will link it in the description below, as well as, my original video, in case you are curious. And I really do think, it was definitely a very wholesome video. I definitely appreciate, the honesty there. It seemed to me that he really, I find it completely genuine, honestly, that he really had, feelings of frustration, and he maybe came across as too aggressive to his audience, and he just didn't realize it until, he kind of just uploaded the video. And that level of honesty and being able to recognize when you may have made a mistake, it's genuinely wholesome, right? It really is. So I thought maybe it would be a good idea to make this video for him, where, I essentially give him some genuine advice, in the future to try to, reduce, the amount of repetitive questions asked, as well as, to maintain a positive relationship with the audience, right? And I think that's because that's at the end of the day the most important thing, right? Where the curator maintains that positive relationship with the viewer. And I can definitely understand how it can be frustrating at times when you get I wouldn't say bombarded, but repeatedly asked the same questions, especially if you feel they may be kind of obvious, right? And this video is mainly just to maybe essentially give him some tips on what he can do to try to reduce some of the repetitive questions asked by his fan base, and also how to deal with that better, in my honest opinion, right? So, as he said in the video, the relationship can be smoother going on, right? So my advice would be to maybe make I don't know if maybe you don't have to do this into a series, or well, you don't have to do this at all, obviously. But my general advice would be to maybe consider making like an update series, a series where you every week or every other week upload a video to your main channel, where you kind of just go over upcoming videos or videos that are likely to be made, as well as answering some common questions that you may be receiving, right? To try to prevent a buttload of the same questions being asked. As well as just to give your audience a general update on what's going on so they can have a good idea, because that is also another important thing to maintain that positive relationship, is that you want your viewers to kind of understand the general gist of what's going on. And I think that's a very important, valuable thing to consider. Maybe also do some live streams. Live streams are a very excellent way of connecting with your audience and answering questions from your audience, and just getting a good idea of what your audience what your audience may be thinking, right? Whether it be videos that they would like to see in the future, or just how they feel about your content. I think that's another piece of valuable. I can't speak to that. I think that's another piece of good advice that can really help you strengthen that relationship. And also, another piece of advice I have in regards to how you treat your audience is to, I've seen your videos. Your videos definitely have a very exaggerated negative persona when it comes to bashing pieces of media, right? And that's fine, obviously. Like, there's nothing wrong with being as aggressive as possible towards a video game, right? That's completely fine, right? I think that one thing that needs to be considered, though, is to try to distance yourself from that persona when you're speaking towards your audience or a specific person, right? Just in general. I think that mindset, that philosophy to have when it comes to making your videos, I think that would be very helpful towards making sure that the relationship is never strained, right? And I think that when it comes to addressing your audience, I think that maintaining a positive tone, as well as, watching, your use of words, I think is a very good idea to also maintain that relationship. Now, you also have to be a bit careful with that, in my opinion, because you also don't want to go from aggressive to sounding condescending, because that could happen. I've seen it happen I've seen it happen with a lot of people that I know, where they can have trouble, where they can have some trouble actually conveying themselves appropriately at times when they feel frustrated. And I think that's just a very important skill to develop, in my opinion. And also, I think the final thing I want to say is, I get it. It can definitely feel a bit frustrating, when you have people asking you the same questions, over and over, or constantly asking, yo, when is the next video gonna come out? I get that. I definitely understand, where the frustration might be coming from, right? But I think, and you said this in the video, I think making sure to understand that, it's never out of ill will. It's always out of genuine curiosity, or in many cases, praise, is a good mindset to always maintain when it comes to addressing that. And being patient is a good way of dealing with that. And I think one thing that, one really good, really powerful piece of advice to give, especially to someone on the internet, is to realize, and this is kind of the price you pay for being a YouTuber, is to realize that people, fans or not, are gonna say some things that you may find annoying, right? And you may find irritating. And I think the best way to deal with that is to just kind of get used to it, in a way, and to just try to adapt to it, as much as humanly possible. Because I can definitely see how it can be annoying, seeing people asking you the same questions over and over again. But I think, when you implement that piece of advice, as well as the other pieces of advice that I gave, making the occasional update video, making the occasional live stream, that other stuff that I said earlier on, I think those feelings of frustration can be reduced heavily. And I also think that if you ever feel that you are stressed out making these videos, then to maybe just take a breather, take a break, and just like you said in the video, be calm, think about what you want to say online, think about how you want to convey yourself and what exactly you want to say, and before you say it or post it, right? And I think that's a very important lesson to for any YouTuber or content creator to understand. Anyways, dude, I know you've seen my original video. You left a comment on it. I genuinely appreciate the comments you left on the video, the comment thread that we had. It was very. You definitely came across to me as more reasonable in that comment thread than in that original video that you did. But it was definitely good, in my opinion. I also really appreciate your clarification video. I'm not a fan of your content. I actually just occasionally watch your videos, but I'm not actually a subscriber, mainly because the type of content that you do is not really my cup of tea. But I genuinely appreciate you making sure to keep that relationship between the creator and the viewer, making sure that relationship isn't strained. Because I think that if that relationship is strained, it leads to a downward spiral for the creator that can be impossible for the creator to climb out of. Anyways, dude, no hard feelings. even though you did come across as pretty egotistical with that video, I definitely can confirm now that you didn't mean to come across that way. And I really appreciate that video you made. I wouldn't be making this video if it wasn't for that video. And I genuinely hope the best for your channel, right? I genuinely hope that your channel succeeds, it blooms, and that nothing happens between that creator-viewer relationship, right? Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, right? Is maintaining that very positive relationship between the creator and the viewer.